Hi, how are you? This is the very first one, and this is the very first live that I've done here at the lake house. And I would like to say that I'm a professional, but I didn't bring my canvas light with me. So I've got a $10 ring light. And I've got my really old tripod for my phone. And I brought my hoop stand all the way from England. So we're just going to do it. We're just going to try. Okay. We're just going to try our best. And hope that you can see everything really good. And I'll see what I can do for tomorrow if it doesn't work. So first off, welcome. This is the Sunken Ship Stitchalong. It looks like this. And we're going to learn a ton of new stitches with this stitch along. I'm so excited. So thank you. Hopefully you guys can see okay. Like I said, I've got 2 pillows stacked over here and then like the light on top of it. So we have like extra light, because without it, I think it's going to be a bit dark. That's with the light on in here too. So I've got this one. It kind of brightens it up a bit, but we'll just see. Okay. We'll see what happens. I might have to change it tomorrow, but we're learning. Okay. Everyone's learning. So today what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to thread our needle. We're going to separate threads. We're going to knot, and we're going to learn couching. Now, I don't normally teach couching a lot, but I have taught this one before. So it's not like a brand new stitch if you've been around for a while. But it's really good if you want to outline something, and there's a couple different ways that you can do it. So first, let's just do our pep talk. All right. The first thing that we need to remember is that everyone's is going to be different. Okay, whether it's you've used a different background, whether it's you didn't want to paint your background, whether it's you used different colors, maybe you used watercolors, maybe you used watercolor pencils, maybe you only used, maybe you did different layers of fabric. Okay, there's all kinds of ways that you can do this, and they're all going to look different, and that is the funnest part. So please don't look at mine or look at someone else's and think, oh my God, mine looks so terrible because it doesn't look like theirs. That's not what this is about. All right, we're all learning together, we're all doing it together, and they're all going to look different. And the second thing is that you're supposed to be trying your best and having a good time. So if you find yourself really not enjoying it and getting really stressed out every time that you start stitching because you want it to be perfect, that's probably your sign to take a break. Okay. In the nicest possible way. Put your needle down. Go for a walk, something like that. All right. Because it's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be like a competition between us all. They're not supposed to look like cookie cutter images of each other. They're all going to be unique. As long as you're trying your best and you've done your best and you've made something yourself, that is what you should be proud of. Okay. So that's kind of like my little pep talk in the beginning. I try and do it most of the stitch alongs. Sometimes I don't quite manage to. And then the very last thing before we get started is if you want to, you can say your name and where you're from, because I know some people's names don't match their Instagram usernames. So if you want to say hi, you totally can. Okay. If you don't want to, that's fine too. And you can say where you are. So I am in Brooklyn, Michigan, and my name's Tori. I'll just go first. That's honestly like my worst, when you go into like group things. And they're like, just stand up and say an interesting fact about you. And I'm like, oh my God, please don't. We do not need to be doing this. That's normally my like worst nightmare. Do you know what I mean? So what we're going to do first, I'm Carrie from Tucson. So what we're going to do first is learn how to thread a needle. So what I've got here is just all 6 strands. Okay, I'm going to use a dark green for mine, so I'm going to start with that just along the edge here. And I'm going to do a lighter green around this one like this. And I'm going to start talking about couching a little bit too. So with couching, you can use as many strands as you want. Okay, so there's 6 strands in that make up 1 strand of thread. All right, so there's 6 little ones in here that make up 1 big one. Some people use all 6 strands. and all 6 strands for the next part, okay? Some people use all 6 strands and then just 1 strand for the next part. And I'm going to explain all of that in just a minute. So threading your needle, I'm going to use 6 strands for this, but obviously you can use more or less depending on how you want it to look, okay? So when you thread your needle, what I like to do is put my needle in between my fingers like this and do this kind of motion, okay? You can also use a needle threader if you want to. And you're going to put the eye of your needle just right over top. And you're going to do that motion into the eye of your needle. Okay? I think I got all of them except for one. No, I got them all. All right? So there you go. Easy peasy. All right? I don't like to lick mine. I don't like my biological data on there, but yeah, I don't like to do that. Also, it can rust your needle if you get it wet too much. I don't like doing that. So that's how I do mine. And then to do a knot at the very, very end, what you're going to do is you can either take it like this and you're going to make a circle. So I just kind of twist it like that. And you're going to put the end up through the hole like this. Okay. And you're going to shimmy that knot down. So this is how I do it. You literally just shimmy that down all the way to the end. Like that. And you can do another one on top too. So if you've got like, 1 strand, you can do a lot of them by just putting them all on top of each other like that. That's a fun way to do it. Okay. I'm going to show you another way, which is the quilter's knot. This is the one that always gets the crowd going, if you know what I mean. What you're going to do is put your thread over top of your needle like this and put your thumb just over it so it looks like that. Okay, and hold that like this. And you're going to twist. Just wrap your thread around 2 or 3 times. You can do it just 1 time as well if you want to. The more wraps, the bigger the knot. And then you're just going to hold all those threads on the needle and you're going to pull your needle through, holding those threads still. And then you get your knot. Okay? So there we go. For this one, what you're going to do though is we're going to come up from the back. Then we're actually going to use another piece of thread to tack down our stitches. Okay? So I'm going to come up just right here because it'll be really easy to show you. I'm going to come up right here. So let's just zoom in a bit. Like that. Hopefully that's not too close and I can still do a bit of work. I might have to actually just zoom. It's better if I'm closer, to be honest. Okay, so you're going to pull it through like this, okay, and then take it off your needle. And you need another piece of thread now. Now, if you do not want your tacking stitches to be really noticeable, you're going to use maybe just like 1 strand. And you're going to do tacking stitches like that. If you want them to be noticeable, you can use all 6 strands. You can use 3 strands. You can use a different color to tack them. So essentially what we're doing is we're doing a little straight stitch every once in a while to make our thread stay where we want it to go. Okay. So with one hand, we'll be pushing it over like this. And with our needle, we're going to come up on one side and down on the other to just tack that down. So that the thread stays right where we want it to go. Okay, so imagine it kind of like you can either see the tacking stitches like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you cannot see them. So it depends if you want to have a contrasting color or if you want to have the same color on there. Yeah? Tiffany from South Carolina, and Carrie is driving to San Diego. That's exciting. Oh my goodness. So just for a quick example here, if you wanted to have like a contrasting color one, if I just take this apart, if I can find where the end is. I'm trying to be a little bit quiet because I'm in the spare bedroom, which we call my grandma and grandpa's bedroom. But Miles is like right next door. Okay, so you could have a little tacking stitch like that, where you can see a different color stitch, tack, 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 all like that. Or it can be the same color so you don't see it. All right? It depends on how you want it to look. If you want to see those in the background or if you want to not. So I think I'm going to use this color because 1, you'll be able to see it better. And 2, I can show you how to separate your threads. So let's go with just 3 strands for this. So it'll be a little bit thinner than our actual thing there. Okay, I don't know if this is going to separate all the way because this is some kind of like no-name thread that I've got. But we'll just see, okay? So when you separate your threads, so you've got your threads like that, yeah? When you separate your threads, you can do it one of 2 ways. You can do the Y method, which you take your threads out. So I want 3 threads. So I've got 3 here and 3 here. And all you're going to do is hold it in your hand like this and kind of untwist it. So as you're going, untwist, untwist, untwist. And use your thumb. And then untwist, untwist, untwist. I can already tell as it's getting darker, I'm going to need to change this because it's getting a big shadow on the side. That's fine though, okay? The other way that you can do it, like I said, I don't know if this is going to work or not because of the threads, is you can take out each thread as one thread and then put them all together to make however many you want. So for example, you're going to take and pull out just one thread, okay, like this, and you're going to hold the rest of them in your hand, all right, and you're going to pull it out. So pull it out, pull it out, pull it out, and you're going to keep it to the side like that. So you've got 1. Now you need to pull out 2 more single threads and then put all 3 single threads together to make 3 threads, okay? Now, there's pros and cons to each of these. I think when you pull out 3 threads and put them back together, it separates them a bit, which means that they're not as twisted together. So when you get your thread, you'll notice that it's all kind of twisted together to form one piece, you know? But when you take out 3 strands at one time, they're still a bit twisted. They're still a bit all twisty together, you know? But when you take them all out one by one by one and then put them back together, they're not really twisted anymore. It's just like 3 strands of thread that are just all put together. Yeah? So there's pros and cons to each, obviously. So just to see the difference, this one is obviously the 1, 2, 3. And then this one here is the 3 that I've pulled out in one go, and it's still a bit twisted together. Okay? I always say there's no right or wrong way, and people are like, oh, there is. Some people will say that taking them out one, and then putting them back together is the better way. Some people think that they lay a little bit better that way because you can get them all to lay flat. And some people like it where they're all a bit twisted together so that it's like one thicker strand instead of 3 little strands. Does that make any sense? I hope so. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to hold this like this, just flat, and you're going to guide it where you want to go. Now, normally with the couching, you kind of want to get it the same distance apart, all of your little tacking stitches. You're going to come up on one side and down on the other. Just literally right on the other side. We're not making big stitches here. We're only doing stitches that are about the size. Can you see that? Of your thread. I'm so close. I'm like 2 inches from the fabric right now. How good is that though, huh? Okay. So we're just going to take our fingers again and just kind of guide it where we want it to go. Now, this is another one of those where if one's a little bit farther, don't worry, okay? If you have to make a couple really, really close together because that's how the pattern is, don't worry, okay? I like to put my thread, my tacking thread, on the line where I'm going, okay? And then kind of guide my other thread, the dark color, where I want it to go. Okay. I actually really like couching. I think it's so fun. It's another one of those stitches that you can use for lines if you're a little bit like, oh, I don't know what to do for this. Okay, so I'm making mine really quite close together. Let me zoom out and then go a bit closer because you can really see how close they are. But you might need to do that, especially around these little areas like that, so that you can go around the rocks, or if you have any areas like this where you want to keep that little bumpy kind of look, yeah, you might have to continue to do it that way. Okay. So how are we feeling about this? How are you feeling about couching? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Have you done it before? Do you find it annoying? Oopsies. So the only other tip I have for couching really is to keep kind of tugging on this one. You can outline in any color, Carrie, if you don't want to. I mean, it doesn't have to be green. It doesn't have to be, it could be any color. It could be like a brown. You could use a fun like orange or like magenta, something like that. It definitely does not have to be green. I love these underwater stitchalongs because I feel like any colors could go anywhere and it makes sense. You know, there's never a part where I'm like, ooh. But I think in my brain, my own brain sometimes, I get a bit like, oh, grass is green, so I'll put that there. When actually, like, it could be any color really, you know? So this is what it looks like with all 6 strands and 3 strands for couching, okay? And remember, this right here is what we first started with. We've just put it up through the back here, and I'm just laying it down where I want it to go, guiding it with my fingers here, okay? And tacking it down as we go along. I used all 6 strands because I wanted it to be like quite thick. Brown could be really good. And we're going to have a lot of stuff in front of it, remember? So like these dashed lines, we're actually going to be putting a shape in between each one. So it's not going to be just like a running stitch. It's going to be, there's going to be stuff filled up. And then the same with this over here. It's going to be different, but it's a different variation. So keep that in mind. And then you are also going to have the choice on the very last day. I'll show a couple other like filler stitches. So if you're feeling like there's too much space in between things, like you could totally put some things here or fill up this area or make it go around here or down here on the grass part. Grass. Seabed. Come on, get with it. Might need to watch like The Little Mermaid tomorrow. But yeah, so, I mean, have a think because it doesn't have to be green. And also, you might not actually see a lot of it in the end anyways. You know, I do love couching. Carrie said couching is so tidy. I love it. It is. It's so nice. I think like you can add as much pizzazz as you want to it. Like if I really wanted to, I could cover this whole thing and make like a corded couching where you actually cover the entire thing. So instead of just doing it like here, 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 and tacking it down, you could literally cover every single bit of this dark green stitch with a stitch, okay? And completely cover it. You could do different colors. So you could do like, say a green, original, or green. And then I'm going to go straight over this because the stitch that we're going to use is going to cover this completely. So if you are not comfortable with that, you could totally put your needle back on this thread and go down with your dark green thread, okay? And then back up over here just to finish this little area. Or you can just stitch straight over it. It just depends on what you're comfortable with, okay? It is going to be a kind of satin stitch over here. So keep that in mind. It will be covered completely. All right? Just before you're like, wait. Don't cover it. But I know some people, they do not want to stitch over other things. So they get a bit like, hold on. I'm just going to make mine a little bit farther apart in this area because I don't really need to waste my thread, you know? Anyways, you can make, say, a green thread, and then you could do like a magenta, a blue, a green, a yellow in like a pattern all the way in the background. That could add a lot to it too. I know I say it all the time, but it really does depend on what you like. Because some people will be really literal with it and just be like, nope, this is what I want. That's how it has to be. And other people will be like, oh my gosh, give me all the colors. I'm going to make it like a rainbow through up underwater. And it's going to be so cool. So don't shy away from like what you love to do. All right? All right, this is the very last one here. And then we'll go down with that one. Okay, I'm going to flip it over and we're going to do some knots. And then we're going to take this green thread and put it down to the back of the fabric as well. So let's see what it looks like on the back. Obviously there's no dark green. There's only light green. This is really quite shadowy now. So when you're doing your knots on the back, there's a couple different teams here. There's like team no knots, which means that you don't do knots on the back. Okay, so even to start, they wouldn't do a knot to start either. Some people, they just weave their thread under each of their stitches, sometimes this way, sometimes that way, then this way, then that way, and then snip it off, done. Some people, they want to knot all the things all the time. So they will add a knot at the beginning and a knot at the end. That's fine too. And some people, they do all their knots at the end and they just knot any two strings or threads that they have. Do you know what I mean? So there could be like a pink one over here and a green one, and they'll just knot it. And they'll just knot these and knot these and knot these, and then call it a day and be done. Okay? So it depends on how you are, how chaotic you like it, how tidy you like it. What I like to do for knots, which is what I just did, is I like to, again, make a loop, okay, like this, and then put your needle up underneath, okay, and pinch your fingers right where you want your loop to be, your knot to be. And then you're going to take your loop over those fingers as close as you can, yeah, and shove it all the way in there like that, okay? So that's the easiest way for me. Some people will separate the threads and then tie them together. So say you've got three strands, you'll take one strand and two strands and you'll use them like to tie your shoes, and you'll tie them off that way. It just depends on what you like. So that's what we're doing today. That's all we're doing. So what you're going to do, I'm going to show you where to put the couching now, because I'm trying to make these videos not so long so that I can actually save them, because I think that is the issue. I think the longer they are, the more or the less likely it is that they're going to save. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you where to put it now. So you're going to put it all the way along here. I am going to put this on the bottom, on the back. You can do it all along here, and then this way, and all along this way, and then this one here, okay, and then the brown around like that. For the starfish, I would definitely go down, not stitch through, only because we're not actually going to fill in the starfish all the way with a stitch. They're going to be close stitches, but they're not going to be filled in all the way, okay? And then this one, you're going to go all the way down like this and down this way. Okay, and that's all the couching you have to do. So you're just outlining these big chunks. Now, don't do down here and then up here in the same color. Do you know what I mean? Even though this is one big chunk, yeah, this light green one is in front of this dark green one. So we want to have the light green one come from here. Does that make sense? So we have the dark green like that. Then we have the light green like that. Stop there. And then we have the rock on this side. Okay? Any questions? I'll do my knot on the back. And then if you've got any questions, you can let me know. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to see if it will save better that way. I've also planned out every single day with what stitches we're going to do. Obviously, it might change. And I think what I'm going to do is make a cover for the live that will say the stitches on it. What do you think about that? So therefore, if you want to read more about what we did, you can read the caption. Or hopefully, if I can get it together, I've just got a bunch of news about tariffs and a big show I was going to do. I can't do anymore, not of my own choice, but I just can't do it anymore, and I kind of feel a little bit lost. So, yeah. The cover will help when I have to rewatch. Yes. So I have to see if I can make like a good cover that you can still see, that looks nice, but then you can read what it is, you know? Because, and this is a really stupid reason, but I'm going to tell you why. Instagram does not like any writing on the covers. And when you put writing on your covers or in your videos, like on reels and stuff, or on pictures, it's always like minus 10 points. And I'm like, ugh. So annoying. It's going to be amazing. Oh, thank you, Carrie. I feel like I really need that. I need some kind words right now. Yes, the cover will help me when I have to rewatch. Yes. FYI, Hobby Lobby still has it every other week. Fabric sales have dropped the discount down to 30. Oh, that's exciting. Well, if you like to shop at Hobby Lobby, well, there you go. There's your 30%. So make sure that you do this one, because we can't really do any of the other stitches in these areas until we do the background. So we have to do the background first. So that's why we're doing the little outlining there and there and there, and then all these stitches can go on top of that. So we're kind of working to make sure that the background gets pushed in the background, and then the things on the front really kind of build up to the front, you know? So hopefully this will be really nice. I'm going to see what I can do, because what I really want to do is have the light about like here, you know? But what I got was this. I'll show you really quickly, because it's just it's like the cheapest thing I could find. It's like this. It said influencer kit. So I think what you're meant to do is put your phone like this, or like this, maybe. Maybe I have it upside down. But you're supposed to put your phone in there, okay? And have this light shine on your face, and then talk to the camera. Do you know what I mean? So your face is illuminated. It's a ring light. Yeah? But I can't use it that way because the tripod is only really small and I can't make it taller to fit over the top of my hoop stand. Do you see? So I'm in a bit of a pickle. So I'm going to see what I can do with this. If I can maybe find a way to like duct tape it up here. See, wouldn't that be good if I could just like duct tape it like right there, like that? Maybe I need another table. If I could find it like a taller table. I'm actually on a bar stool. So we love our faces illuminated. Not. There's a reason that I don't put the camera facing me when I do the stitch-alongs, okay? It's facing the hoop. Let's all pretend it's so that you guys can see the stitches better and not that it makes it easier for me to like not fix how I look. I'm showing up how I am, okay? That's how it should be for everyone. So there we go. That's what I want. This is what we've got. We've got the ring light on a pillow. So we're doing our best, okay? So yeah, that's all for me. I'm going to love you and leave you. And I hope that you have a really lovely time stitching this one. And I'll see you tomorrow. And tomorrow we are going to do a stitch that we all know and love. So I'll leave you with that, okay? Enjoy. Bye.